watching KSAT 12, home of KSAT.com. KSAT 12 Nightbeat at 10 starts right now.
He wasn't a real big drinker. Just that night he drank, and I guess he drank a little too much. And that was the one mistake that he made that night.
A horrific drunk driving crash left 4 children and their mother dead. Tonight, hear from a civilian who was the first on the scene. Plus, Tropical Storm Derby has formed in the Gulf of Mexico. Does that mean some real rain chances for South Texas? Meteorologist John Honore will have the latest in a few minutes. And divorce rates on the rise, but not among the age group you might think. The reason some older couples are calling it quits. Good evening. I'm April Molina in for Charles Gonzalez. Thanks for joining us tonight. And tonight, a 6-year-old boy kidnapped from his grandmother's home in Selma is back with her, and he is safe tonight. The two were reunited last night after he was found at an apartment complex pool in San Antonio. But as the night team Stephanie Serna shows us, this grandmother says she's still not completely at ease. It's all new on the Nightbeat.
I went swimming and I played with a ball after.
6-year-old Simon Wayman is safe at home tonight, but it's been a rough couple of days for his grandmother, Mary Gilson, after he was kidnapped from her house on Thursday.
I don't think that I have recovered from the pang in my heart that I felt when I realized he was gone and that I might not see him again.
Last night, Simon was reunited with his grandmother and uncle at the Selma Police Department. And since they brought him home, Mary says her grandson has been very quiet. But today she says he's talking more and that he even asked for his mother.
He doesn't realize the seriousness of it. He doesn't know that it was a crime.
Simon's mother, 43-year-old Melissa Wayman, was identified by police as one of the suspects in the kidnapping.
I felt some empathy, but the sympathy stopped when those 3 people broke into my house and she was behind it.
But Mary says Simon's mother wasn't alone. 4 other men had also broken into her home and ransacked it, taking important documents, jewelry, and other valuables.
It was dangerous to me, and it could have been dangerous to Simon.
And Mary tells us she is still bruised on the left side of her body after she was thrown on the ground during the kidnapping. We're also told that Simon's mother and 1 other person were arrested last night. However, Mary says that investigators are still looking for 3 other men involved in the break-in. April?
All right, thank you, Stephanie. A horrific DWI crash that left 4 children and their mother dead. A Good Samaritan and his family was the first on the scene and did what they could to help. Henry Zimmerly says he and his kids were in their backyard last Monday evening when his kids heard the crash. He and his wife hopped in their truck and eventually found the wreck on Medina Base Road.
We pulled them out, laid them on the floor. Actually, I passed them to my wife, and she laid them on the floor on a carpet that we had in the truck, or a blanket. And we started to try to do CPR on him, but we couldn't bring him back. It affected us because, you know, the baby actually passed away in my wife's arms, and we still have visuals of it, and it kind of, you know, it touches us in a way that it could have been us, or it could have been somebody else that we know.
Henry says the driver, the boy's father, Larry Dimmer, seemed dazed after the crash and didn't seem to realize what had happened. He has since been arrested, charged with 5 counts of murder. Henry and his wife are going to counseling because of the tragedy they witnessed. More than $12,000 was raised for the family at a fundraiser today. The latest on a murder suspect still on the loose, and SAPD needs your help finding him. Police say 35-year-old Andres Segovia is wanted in connection with the murder of Joe Flores earlier this month. Back on June 8th, Flores was shot and killed in the 100 block of Emerald Ash during a gunfight at the Rosemont University Park Apartments. If you have any information, you can call 224-STOP. A suspect behind bars in a small-town murder. Poteet police say they've made an arrest in the shooting of 35-year-old Emilio Villa, although they have not released that suspect's name yet. Police tell us a tip led them to a home where the suspect was hiding. They do say the shooting may have been gang-related. New details as Jerry Sandusky remains on suicide watch inside a jail cell after his conviction on 45 counts of sexual abuse. Sandusky's lawyers revealing they tried to resign from the case the day before the trial began, but the judge turned them down. They say they did not have enough time to prepare for such a massive case even after the verdict. Some people are finding it hard to believe.
It just seemed too serious and too big to really be true. So I just sort of believed their side of the story.
So what's next for Sandusky? He'll be sentenced within 90 days. The judge has filed a pre-sentencing report. Sandusky will be examined by a sexual offenders assessment board and likely be assigned to a South Central Pennsylvania prison where he'll undergo mandatory treatment. He could also face a flurry of civil lawsuits. A former principal accused of killing 2 people and assaulting several others, including a couple he allegedly beat with a microwave. Anthony Giancola was arrested in Florida after authorities say he went on a killing spree. Giancola was once the principal of a middle school in Tampa until he was fired after being arrested for buying crack cocaine. Investigators say last week he stabbed 2 people to death at a home for the hearing impaired, then injured 2 others. Then he reportedly went to a hotel and assaulted 2 more before stealing a car and trying to run them over. Authorities say he did all this in 30 minutes before calling his mother.
He said he's told his mother, "You'll be very proud of me. I just killed 10 drug dealers at a motel."
In all, 8 people were injured. Investigators say Giancola had taken drugs and was possibly drinking. The man elected to fill the seat of Representative Gabrielle Giffords carried on one of her traditions today, the same one where both of them were shot more than a year ago. Congressman Ron Barber held his first Congress on Your Corner in a supermarket parking lot in Tucson. Barber, a former aide of Giffords, was elected to the seat in a special election. Both were injured in that 2011 assassination attempt. Barber is carrying on the tradition just 3 days after being sworn in. He says events like this are essential to bipartisanship Giffords was known for.
Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, they need to be able to have contact in a very personal way. And that's why I did it, and I will continue to do these kinds of events.
Many of the visitors to today's event were survivors of that mass shooting. An 11-year-old Helotes girl came home from the movies to a very special surprise today. Wish kid Madison lives with pulmonary hypertension, a blood pressure disorder that leads to heart disease and other serious problems. When Make-A-Wish came along to help out, she asked for her bedroom to be redone in order to store her medical equipment. The whole job was done when Madison was at the movie, so it was quite a surprise.
She walked in today, and the first thing she said was, "Wow." I think that says it all. She is so thrilled.
I don't have words, really, except thank you. It's a big surprise. I didn't think that many people would be so involved with Madison and care.
Madison says her favorite part of the new room is the television and her new bed. Isn't that awesome? Well, how do you start cleaning up after such major flooding like they saw in the Midwest this week? Still to come on the Night Beat, how more damage may have to be done before the cleanup can begin. And the first cars off the production line of an all-electric car company. Could it change the face of American auto manufacturing? The story right after the break. And we've got your winning lotto and Powerball numbers right here on the Night Beat. Stay with us. An important moment for the first electric-only car company, Tesla. They're rolling out their first mass-market sedans. These S models were delivered to the first 10 customers who put down money more than 3 years ago in California. Early adopters hope it will bring a whole new industry to the American auto market, but it'll take time to see what the average car buyer has to say about it. The Tesla can go about 300 miles on just one charge. The U.S. has the highest divorce rate in the world, and it's not just young couples calling it quits. Baby boomers are keeping divorce lawyers in business. Divorce rates for people over 50 have more than doubled over the last 20 years, 1 in 4 in 2009. The study that found these new numbers also identified some of the factors explaining the rise, including longer lifespans and changing ideas about what makes a good marriage.
When you're 60, 65, you retire, well, I could live another 20, 25 years. Do I want to spend my life with this person? Is she or he making me happy?
Other factors include the rise of people living together before they were married, something that only came about in the 1970s and 80s. Taking a live look outside with City Cam tonight. You know, kind of a warm day tonight, John, but I guess we're about to see hot, right? Next couple days.
Yeah, we're expecting much hotter weather. In fact, close to record-setting heat. We didn't have anything like that today. We get up to about 96 degrees this afternoon. You can see here, I don't know what's going on with this computer. There we go. Freaking me out there a little bit. 96 degrees this afternoon after a low temperature of 73. Not a record, as we mentioned, but we will be up close to those record temperatures in the coming days. That's not the only thing we're watching out for. Here is the latest on Tropical Storm Debbie. Still a tropical storm, but now forecast to become a hurricane. Will it still head in this direction? We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, John. Up next, firefighters losing ground against that still burning wildfire in Colorado. The conditions they're facing that's not making things easier. Still to come. Weather conditions are not being kind to firefighters in Colorado who are having to retreat for their own safety as they continue to battle a fire that has burned almost 120 square miles. High winds and dry conditions have caused the containment of that fire to slip from 60 to 45% since yesterday. 1,000 evacuation notices have been issued, some to people who had just returned home. Almost 200 homes have been destroyed. The cleanup is just beginning after severe flooding in Minnesota. Now people are salvaging what's left of their waterlogged homes. Water swept away entire streets of parts of Duluth. Giant craters left in people's backyards as city crews work on utility lines. The problem is some of those utility lines run underground, and what's left of some homes are having to be torn down so crews can get to them. More light rain is expected in that area over the weekend. And turning to our area, you know, I guess there is a possibility we could have rain. There's a lot of activity. Before we go tonight, you may have seen Keyboard Cat online, but this feline musician is starting to get his own attention. Stephen was playing his owner's guitar when a 5.2 magnitude earthquake struck Melbourne, Australia. His owner just happened to be shooting video of Stephen when the quake struck. You can see he only stops a few times to see what's up with the rumbling, and he gets right back to it.
Who's interrupting my playing?
But check him out. And you've been teasing us with a little bit of rain, or talk about a little bit of rain.
Yeah, it looks like Debbie's going to be headed this way. At least that's the way it looks right now, but that could change. That could change big time as we head through the next few days. So if you have weather-sensitive plans, definitely want to pay attention to the forecast.
All right, thank you, John. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for watching. Be sure to catch Good Morning San Antonio tomorrow starting at 6 a.m. Until then, have a great night.